So you finally made the decision that you want to convert to Catholicism, but how do you tell your spouse? Today, I'm going to dive into that topic. When I first decided I wanted to convert, it was a really hard decision for me to make because, quite frankly, I didn't know how my husband was going to react. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you're here today. I just want to say thank you again for all of your comments and information and encouragement that you've been sharing with me. It is so helpful, so I'm really glad that you're here following me on my faith journey. I've been getting a lot of great feedback from you all, so if you are enjoying my videos, please subscribe. That would really help me a lot. And if you do like this video, go ahead and hit the thumbs up and share it with someone who you think might find it helpful. All right, let's get started. So when I first started considering becoming Catholic, this was something I really didn't want to do. I had to do a lot of thinking. I had been going to Protestant churches for a little over 10 years, and I had never had a good opinion of Catholics. Everything I was taught at my Protestant churches was negative. I thought that Catholics weren't really Christian. I thought that they had a different perspective on salvation. And this is really embarrassing, but I actually thought that Catholics didn't believe that Jesus is God. In other words, I thought that they didn't believe in the Holy Trinity. This is just something that I heard. So this just shows you how misled and uninformed I was about Catholicism. As I mentioned in my video, which I will link down below, there's a whole playlist of my conversion story of the Protestant sermon that turned me Catholic. And this was the turning point because all of the crazy stuff that my previous pastor was talking about sounded so crazy that I had to go and research all of this stuff. And it just led me down a rabbit hole and convinced me that the Catholic Church is the one true church that Jesus Christ founded in 33 AD and handed Peter the keys of the kingdom. And here we are today, 2,000 years later, still standing strong. I just could not deny that anymore. So once I had done all the research, I had been watching conversion testimonies on YouTube and social media. I had watched tons of apologetics on all the different misconceptions that I had about Catholicism. I also watched a lot of debates, which were very long, but I really needed to understand the Catholic faith if I was going to make this decision. This was a very tough choice for me, and I know a lot of you might be thinking about the same thing. And one of the biggest things that I had to consider was my marriage. I didn't know how my husband was going to react when I told him that I wanted to become Catholic. So I mentioned in some of my other videos that at my previous church that I was attending, which was a Baptist church, my husband and I were very involved in the music ministry. We were in the choir. We also led the contemporary praise and worship. This was something that we were very involved in. This was a huge thing that I had to consider. If I wanted to convert and be Catholic, I'm going to have to walk away from this. That was a very important part of my life because that was my way of serving the Lord in the church through the music ministry. I had contemplated, what am I going to do if I leave? I'm not going to have the opportunity to sing anymore. I won't have this ministry to be able to help reach people. I was just so overwhelmed, but when it came to talking to my husband about this, I was really scared because he had told me that he was actually raised Catholic, he went to Catholic school, but I didn't know the extent of his faith journey. He just told me that he was Catholic as a child, but most of his adult life, he never really was a practicing Catholic and not really a Christian for that matter. After contemplating this, I finally decided one day I have to tell him. I was really nervous. So we were doing our little exercise routine that we were doing for a while. While we were working out, I was like, hey, I need to tell you something. This is kind of a hard thing for me to talk about. And his face was just like, okay, what? Like, this looks like you're gonna tell me something bad. I explained to him that I had watched this sermon from our previous church and it got me thinking. I've been watching a lot of videos. I said, honey, I know this sounds crazy, but I think I'm gonna convert to Catholicism. His reaction wasn't terrible, but it also wasn't great. So let's talk to him about that. You're kind of dark. Can you come forward a little?
How about you come backward?
Look like you're in a shadow.
It's because I'm all dark right here and
is it reflecting off my hair?
It is.
There you go. Do you look better now? Let's
No,
see.
I don't.
Oh, yes you do, look.
Do I look at the camera and talk to you, or do I look at you?
Well, probably the camera because we're talking to people. Okay, how's that? You can talk to. Do you have better light now?
Loompa.
Does your skin look good? All right, don't look like this.
Okay.
Don't look over here, or it's gonna look funny. You're gonna be like, hello? Hey, everybody.
Where'd you go?
How did you feel when I told you that I had decided that I want to convert to become Catholic?
I thought it was going to be one of Nora's many I need to change something experiences. Because I grew up Catholic, I feel like I had a lot more reverence for it, and the fact that I'm like, we're not going to just go to a Catholic church and then 2 months later she's all, I don't like this. It's either Catholic or nothing else. I also knew how much to be a fully faithful practicing Catholic it takes. It's not just like saying a sinner's prayer, you're all good to go.
So one of the other things that was a huge challenge was because Zach and I were so involved in the music ministry, as I mentioned, we had a lot of people in our church leave. It was getting to the point where knowing that I wanted to convert meant I had to leave, and I wasn't sure if that meant Zach was gonna leave too. And so this felt really conflicting in the sense that now I feel a little bit guilty that our church is kind of relying on us to be there to help with their music ministry. However, there had already been a lot of conflict going on with some things in our worship group, and I'll save that for another video. We'd already been talking about whether or not it would be a good idea for us to maybe try a different church. Talking to him about becoming Catholic wasn't too outlandish in the sense that we already kind of felt like maybe we weren't in the right place. I knew I was gonna be leaving. I didn't know how he was gonna feel about me leaving, and if that meant he was gonna leave or if he was gonna stay.
Well, I essentially told her, I said, I'm your ride or die. So no matter if you're going, I'm going. For months, I had been agonizing about going to practice. It started feeling like I was just going to work at church. I wasn't getting anything from it. I was having a real hard time staying focused and staying centered during the sermon and through other things. If she really wanted to try it, I mean, I already know what Catholicism entails. I had no problem with it.
So these were all really important factors of me making that decision to convert. This is just something I'm really serious about. I know it sounds kind of crazy, and he was really shocked because he was just like, okay, I've never heard you say anything good about Catholics. No. And so here you are telling me you want to be Catholic all of a sudden. Like, where did this come from? I explained to him, look, this is my faith journey, and I just want you to know that I respect what you need out of your faith. Like, if being at this church that we're going to is good for you, if you're comfortable there, if you want to continue to go there, like if you're not ready to become Catholic. I just didn't know what he was gonna say, but I knew that I was putting him in kind of a hard situation because he was gonna have to choose, be supportive of me, decide to convert back or revert, or say, okay, that's great, I'll be supportive, but I'm not leaving because I'm already committed to the band and going to church, and this is kind of weird. But then how did you kind of were saying something like, well, I can't just be there now while you're gone because that's just weird now because everybody knows us.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna put up with like fielding questions because everybody's so nosy in a good way. Where's Nora? What's going on? Like, I am not gonna be part of this gossip mill. So when she said she wanted to become Catholic, part of me was thrilled.
And like kind of relieved, like, yeah, okay, maybe we need a change.
Oh, well, I'm glad he didn't pick Pentecostal.
When I started looking into Catholicism and realizing how old it is, so that really became so interesting to me. I thought it was very fascinating that despite the fact that you had grown up Catholic and already been baptized, that you didn't really know a ton of things about Catholicism and were asking me like, well, what about this and what about that? And I was like, well, aren't you Catholic?
I was poorly catechized.
I had also heard a lot of people say they're Cradle Catholic, and I'm like, what is a Cradle Catholic? Oh, well, it's just someone who's born into Catholicism, you were raised Catholic. But there's a lot of people who are cradle Catholics who were not catechized and fell away from the faith. Or maybe their family didn't really instill those Catholic values and traditions. Zach was super supportive of my decision to become Catholic. It was kind of nerve-wracking because your reaction was just kind of like, pause. There's some quiet there, and
because I'm logical and I don't react.
Yeah, you're very logical, but there was a part of me that was just like really worried that you were gonna be like, you know what, I'm sorry, but I'm just not on board with that, and I don't really want to leave the church. I said, well, will you convert with me? I mean, I didn't know what revert meant, so I just said, okay, well, I'm gonna start taking classes. This is a big commitment. Like, in order to become Catholic, I'm gonna have to take classes and do all this stuff. It's not just like, oh, boom.
I know, I went through them.
Yeah, it wasn't like, okay, I'm just gonna start going to Catholic church and that's the end of it. So I knew, I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna have to make a big commitment to do this. So I asked him, would you be willing to go to these classes with me? Because there's so much adult education that so many adult Catholics don't know the Catholic faith the way that they should. If you were raised Catholic, you should probably go to the OCIA classes just because they're there, they're free, they're available, and they're so helpful because there's a lot of misconceptions about Catholicism, especially in our culture, especially in America. We're a very Protestant country. There's a lot of anti-Catholic sentiment out there, and we have to be able to defend the faith. So there's always these hang-ups. Catholics worship the Pope, and you worship Mary, and you pray to saints, and blah, blah, blah. All the stupid stuff that people think, and that's what I thought too. I didn't know that that's just a lie. The Pope is the Antichrist, rapture, end times, But what did you think when I told you, I'm gonna have to take these classes. Will you take these classes with me? I was like, gosh, this is another to-do thing. And
I didn't want to until she shamed me at first.
What?
No, I didn't. My ultimate reaction to anything you ask me to do is that I don't want to do it. But
babe, you want to go on a carnivore diet?
No. I like bread. She made the logistics of it very easy. We just go right after church.
So after we discussed the classes and he was pretty willing to go ahead and do that, we still had to decide what we were gonna do with our current church, with our music ministry and our commitments. We didn't jump right in. I told him that the classes weren't gonna start for a couple months, so we can give this some time. That way we can really think it through. I've seen people where their spouse is like, no, absolutely not. I will divorce you if you become Catholic, or I don't want you becoming Catholic, or go ahead, but I'm not gonna be Catholic with you. So I knew I wanted to become Catholic, but I was like, I really have to make sure that he's on board.
Come here. Well, come on.
Well, she wants to be part of this video. See, she
Come here. Oh, who doesn't want to get picked up? Made a mistake. Okay, let Mama talk.
How cute she is. All right, this is our life. So I was really fortunate that Zach was so supportive, and honestly, I was thrilled that he was kind of excited about the idea. Once we had thought about it, he's like, yeah, I like this idea. I know not everybody has this situation, and having your spouse be okay with this decision is a major part of converting. I don't have the answers for when one person decides to convert and the other's like, no way. I mean, obviously you have to put your faith at the highest priority, but also your spouse is also your highest priority. So that's a really hard decision. Asking him to come back to Catholicism with me was not that hard. It was actually something that we were able to talk about and agree upon. It worked out. I definitely think it's a blessing. All right, everyone, that does it. Thank you so much for watching. And if you found this video helpful, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you've already been enjoying my videos, please subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. And I will see you next time.
I felt... Hold on. Insane. I can't do this.
Okay. And make sure you're looking here. Don't look over here. Because otherwise it's gonna look weird if you're just like doing this on the side. We should continue. You're doing it again.
Oh, God. I can't help it. I'm not doing that much.
You look like a rabbit. Do you need nasal spray?
No.
I'm not gonna lie, I totally stole your nasal spray.
Oh, my word. What?
Hold on, stop.
Are you drinking water? Okay, we're rambling on.
But you ramble. You've been rambling.
I ramble, excuse me?
Yeah.
You're the queen of a million words.
What?